And today we're here with Scott Johnson from ProCom Consultants to talk about his tips and tricks for saving time and money. How are you doing, Scott?
Doing good, Terrace. How about you?
Excellent, excellent. So, hey, I just wanted to start out with having you give everybody a little bit of an insight into your business and what you've been up to lately.
Well, before I do that, let me give a shout out to Dick Dice and thank him for, I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear to work anymore. I've got my logo clothing.
Yeah.
And thanks to you, one of your emails, I just bought 12 logo face masks. So when we can go out on appointments, I'm ready. So.
That's awesome. You got face masks that have the logo right on there?
That was, by the way, you sent that email. So.
I remember. It was some stuff Dick sent out. I remember. Yeah. That's awesome.
Got to buy those, right?
On the point promotions. Good stuff. Yep.
So thanks to Dick and thanks to Denise for recommending me. And so you want a little background?
Yeah.
I have, I've been auditing phone and data bills for a little over 30 years. Back when I first started, all we really did was audit long distance. There really wasn't a whole lot else to check. And we watched the whole, back then I don't believe there was an internet. We had one cell phone for the whole office, and that one you put it on your back like a backpack.
Yeah, I remember the old car.
Myself a little bit.
Yeah.
But over the years, we now audit. I actually bought out my share of the business some years ago and moved the office home.
Nice.
And then over those years, I purchased 3 small telecom agencies.
Oh, very cool.
So now I can not only audit phone bills, but I can sell just about everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so like if you need Comcast, you need AT&T, you need Frontier, you need 123net. You think there's fiber in your area? I can find out what's out there. What I bring to the party, I'm a terrible salesperson. I always look for the lowest price, the best service.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah.
Most salespeople, they charge the most they can get because that's how they get paid.
Yeah. I would say that makes you a good salesperson, by the way.
Well, I'll give you an example. I had a client call me up the other day and they said, oh, we need to go from 100 meg fiber to 200 meg fiber. Now, most salespeople would rush out there with the paperwork. And I went, why?
Yeah.
Goes, I need more speed. And I goes, oh, come on, you're an IT guy. You know that going from 100 meg to 200 meg has nothing to do with speed. And he goes, yeah, I know. He said, and I said, okay, well, I said, let me check. I can check your usage. He happens to have a network set up. I can actually find out how much he's using. So I went in and looked, and on a busy day, which is his busiest day is Saturday, and they peak at around 48% of usage. And so I call him back and I went, why do you need to go to 200 meg again?
Right.
And he goes, but then he said, well, we're planning this, we're planning that, we're buying 2 more companies. And I said, okay, I'll get the paperwork.
There you go. Yeah. Well, that's good. It's good to know you're looking out for them. That's good
so
stuff.
That's kind of what owning those telecom agencies helps me understand what's going on out there.
Well, I'm glad you do, because I think
and then about 8 years ago, maybe 10 now, clients started coming to me and asking if I could audit their website. Shasta will appreciate this. And I said, what? I had a website. I've had one for about 20 years. I'm not sure why I bought it back then, but good brochure.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're starting to spend more money on our website than we are on our phone bill. So can you take a look? So I got into digital marketing and have been working with people like Shasta over the years to try to help clients get more for their money, make sure everything's set up properly. And that's kind of fun. I have one client that I am their director of marketing, and they just don't have time to deal with it. I set the annual budgets. I produced a couple of radio spots. I place all their business. I do everything except sign contracts. I kind of draw the line there. So
yeah, that's probably smart status. Sounds like you've really turned yourself into a jack of all trades.
Yeah, it has, but I tell you, you get a lot fewer clients calling saying, what's up with our website, than I get clients that say, why is my circuit bouncing?
Right. Yeah, that's rough.
Why is there static on my phone lines?
Right. Yeah, that God, that stuff gives me a headache even thinking about it. Every time I got to call someone to get some of that stuff figured out, it's a hassle. So it's good to know we
Most
got
of my clients have they've learned over the years that they might as well just call me, and
right. Yeah.
I can
Speaking of which,
I can do some remote testing. Which my first thing is, well, before we spend any money, let me do a little testing.
sure, sure. So speaking of which, you actually did an audit for the chamber last year, right?
I did. It was kind of cool. I sent the audit. I did not sell the Comcast that you folks have,
Right.
but I still do. I do free audits whether I sold the business or not. It's not all that important. So Monica sends over the bill, and I do the audit, and I send back the audit, and she goes, "Awesome!" And I'm thinking, well, the first 2 lines of the audit said, "You've actually got a pretty good deal here."
Okay. That's good.
So
well, that's good to know that we're at the best we could be at. And that's
there was something added to the bill that I wouldn't normally add, but it still was very close in line with the best promo. So it really didn't hurt too much. And then I found one small billing error that could save $5 a month, and you had about a $60 refund coming.
Nice.
And so I don't know if that's what she thought was awesome or
probably. Yeah. Well, and it's just like I said, it's just good to know. I mean, sometimes you try to call Comcast and these guys, and you're not going to get straightforward answers like you will if you talk to somebody like you. And that makes me feel good because I did call Comcast like a little bit ago, and all this started happening to make sure, is there anywhere, we can chop this down? And there was not. And that's probably because you had already put us in that position earlier in the year or into last year. So that makes perfect sense. It's good stuff.
I'll send you a copy of that audit because there's some coaching in there. You're not going to save any money, but I think you can increase your bandwidth for no additional money.
That would be great. Yeah, I know we've got an outdated modem and stuff too, so we've got some things to upgrade around there, from what I understand. But that's awesome. Hey, I wanted to ask. I know you have a Faith in Action program that you have in place.
Yep. I call it the Chelsea Chamber Faith in Action program. Basically, the way it works is if anybody that's a chamber member buys anything from me, whether it's a digital product, and we have a couple of really good digital products I've found over the years, or say somebody buys Comcast or Frontier or buys anything, I donate 25% of the revenue we make to Faith in Action.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And that can be ongoing. For instance, if I sold you a Comcast, I'd make a little money every month for as long as you're using it.
Right.
So that 25% goes to the Faith in Action for as long as I'm receiving that.
Not just the first month. Yeah.
It could. So far, it's only generated about $100, but it could turn into a nice revenue stream for them.
Yeah, every penny counts. How long have you been doing that now?
Well, we just started we started it in time for the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, that's good.
When no one's buying anything new.
Yeah, that's kind of rough. But that's cool that you'll just keep it going.
This too will pass. So
yeah, it will. And that's awesome. That's something you'll be running moving forward. Faith in Action is such a great organization. And it's also another nice little bonus for all the chamber members, to know that when they're using you because they're a chamber member, they're getting that donation put through to Faith in Action, It's nice.
Well, and they have somebody local they can pawn off on that extra work, so they don't have to call Comcast like you did. I don't know how pleasant that was, but
it wasn't. It wasn't pleasant. It never is. Took me quite a while to even get a human on the phone, per usual. So, yeah, it's rough. So, hey, I was going to ask, do you have a current story of somebody you've been working with during the COVID-19 and kind of a success of how, they've been hit by this and you were able to come in and help them figure out a way that they can shave some dollars here or there? I don't know. Anything like that?
I've got a couple. First of all, a lot of my time has been spent helping people figure out how to route their phone calls. They're not able to go into the office. Now, some of them who purchase hosted IP phones, especially if they bought them from me, we know how to, those are real easy. They can take their phones home with them. But we've spent a lot of time trying to help people route their traffic, get their messages set up. I'm sure Shasta's had a little bit of get their website set up so they're communicating with their customers. Just telling them we're temporarily closed is not a real good message.
No.
Yes, we are abiding by the rules, but if you need help, call this number or call that number. We've got reduced hours. Tell them as much as you can tell them.
Yeah.
But of course, we've also been trying to help clients reduce their cost. And I think the most recent story was more about we need more bandwidth, and so they gave me a call, and the first thing I did was get in touch with their Renta IT guy to make sure they really did need more bandwidth.
Right. Yeah.
I just went through why I don't always believe you need more.
Sure.
And the IT guy goes, well, yeah, they bought a starter package from me 6 years ago. So he said, yeah, we could use more bandwidth. So my philosophy is go up one step. And I said, I think we can do this and might even save some money. So I made that infamous call to Comcast that you loved a lot. And yes, half an hour into it, I finally got somebody who knew what they were doing. I told them specifically what I wanted. And so he came back and said, oh, you can do that, and it'll only cost you $2 a month more. And I thought, yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to save 30 or 40. So he sends me the paperwork. And of course, he added on 4 things that we didn't need. Well, actually, 3 of them, which cost an extra $15 a month, would actually screw up this client's phone system. And then one that I was pretty sure that the client didn't need. So I called his IT guy and I went, do we need this? Do you need this? He goes, oh, pardon the French. Oh, hell no. So yeah. I sent it back and said, take this off. So they tripled their bandwidth and reduced their costs by $40 a month. So
$40 is huge. I mean, in a year, that's a ton of money.
Yeah, on a $280 bill, to triple your bandwidth and go down to $240 wasn't too shabby. So
no, that's a success story for sure.
Yeah, and they didn't spend any time on the phone. That's the real key.
Time is money.
Yes, it is, and they're pretty busy trying to get things done with no staff around. And
yeah, that's the norm for sure right now.
It really is.
Yeah. Hey, so you were telling me before a story about helping people kind of screen their phone calls and dealing with, what they should be looking out for right now, because of course with, bad news comes bad people doing bad things. So that's very
well. Just a couple of plugs right there. First of all, I think we're all aware of all of the phishing and scamming, and I don't know how aware people are about ransomware, but I have found 5 cases of ransomware in the Chelsea area.
Really?
I was a bit surprised.
Yeah.
Nobody paid the ransom, but it's costing about $2,000 a computer to get it cleaned up and back in service, and a couple of days out of business. So
yeah, those are local Chelsea businesses.
Oh, they're local. Well, 4 in Chelsea, 1 in Grass Lake that I ran across.
That's crazy. I always hear about that stuff like as a concern, but I hadn't had any stories of it actually happening to anybody. So
yeah, no, I actually just one of my cybersecurity expert is running a special on penetration tests for $199, and I've got a computer in my office, and I provide a computer to my part-timer, so I had him do a test on both. Primarily looking to make sure there's no open ports that anybody can get into our machines, and I came back pretty clean. So
yeah,
it was worth the money to know that nobody can get into my machine. And
is that basically what people have to do to prevent that from happening?
Well, it differs by IT person, and I guess the first place to start is I'd talk to my IT person and make sure that I'm comfortable that they've got enough protection on my machine. I've actually added some extra on mine, but I still did the penetration test just out of curiosity.
Sure.
But yes, it's really it's an IT. If people have questions about that, feel free to give me a call or send me an email.
Great. Yeah, we'll make sure we get your email and your phone number up in the comments too, so that people can contact you with any questions.
But I think one of the main things that's happening right now is twofold. You get a lot of telemarketing because people can't go out. One of the telemarketing gimmicks that I think most of us are aware of is you'll get a call and it'll say we're trying to set up an account review for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and most people think I get a lot of clients that send those folks to me because I provided most of their accounts, so they don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And of course, another name for that is I'm calling to set up a sales a pitch for you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not real, because on a couple of occasions I've asked, well, which accounts would you like to review?
Yeah.
Dead silence.
Yeah, I know.
They have no idea. They're just trying to set up a sales call.
Yeah.
The other one is I wrote a constant contact e-blast some months ago, and it was called Yelp Proof Your Business. And this may seem rude, but if you get a call and somebody says, "Hi, I'm Scott Johnson from Yelp," my advice is hang up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, you don't want to do.
You don't want to deal with that. I have one client that he tried to send them to me, and they refused. They said, "Oh, we have to talk to the owner." He finally bought something, and he called me up and apologized for buying something from them. And I said, we're using this local search product that covers that, and your Google My Business page, which is, by the way, about 92% of all searches go through Google.
Right.
So Yelp is one of 69, 70 other .coms out there. So do the math.
Yeah.
Anyway, he bought something and he gets his first bill, and I don't know if they told him it was going to be $150 a month. He got a bill for $450.
Oh.
And I said, you're paying $1,000 a year for this product that covers everything. And not only these folks have developed a bot so that it goes out and it checks all 70 of these .coms and makes sure all their information is correct. And it does it periodically, which really boosts your search engine optimization.
Right.
You're paying $1,000 a year for the best product, that digital marketing product out there. I know, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, where now he's got a $450 a month on top.
Well, then he called back to cancel, and then the young lady called and wanted some more information, so he sent her to me, and he called me and said, "Oh, I sent the Yelp person to you." He goes, "I'll warn you, she's a piece of work."
Yeah,
but he said, if you can make sure that I've canceled my account, I'd appreciate it. So she called me. She was a piece of work. Took me almost 20 minutes to confirm that she had canceled my client's account properly. And then I ended up hanging up on her after I had confirmed it. So,
yeah.
She was still selling.
Still selling. Exactly. Yeah. Like we were saying earlier, it's like those car warranty people that call you up, calling about your extended warranty and whatnot.
Yeah. Won't take no for an answer, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, we made it through this without your dog or my dog making
I think he's upstairs with my wife, because he usually, if he hears me talking, and he'll come up just to check to see who I'm talking to. So
yeah, I don't know where mine's at. It's probably just off being lazy somewhere.
Yeah, he likes to try to crawl up on my lap, and he's 71 pounds now, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's a huge dog. That's a big boy. Yeah.
But let's see, that rule, by the way, for the Yelp proof, that applies to just everybody is selling .com services now. Adam Sign, newspapers, what used to be all the folks that did Yellow Book, Yellow Pages,
right?
Newspapers, all of those folks are selling .com listings, and their pitches, you got to have this. Well, it's such a minute part of the business that nobody goes there looking when they want to buy something. 92% of people go to Google. So if you've got your Google My Business page down pat, then you've got yourself pretty well covered. So
yeah, it's definitely step one, and sounds like it's the most concerning one for sure, to make sure you're right. Yeah,
and you literally do need to say no or hang up on the rest of them.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just going to keep calling you. I don't know. It's rough. Sometimes I try to see if I can get there and get to that point in the phone call where I'm like, get me off your list. But usually I don't make it that far. Usually you just hang it up. Nowadays, you got phones. Once you know it's that bad person, you can tell your phone to block it as spam, and you don't get calls from them anymore, at least.
Well, and that's a good point. When I talk to my marketing clients, I remind them to make sure that their outbound caller ID is correct.
Yeah.
You talk about saving time. Well, if your outbound caller ID isn't correct, so you call your customer and they won't pick it up because they're, they don't recognize there's no name or don't recognize them. So you call them back and their caller ID. So you just
Yeah, no, and nobody answers the phone anymore. It always goes to voicemail. And then if they forget to check the voicemail,
right.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So that's a good point. As part of that, what I do in my messages, part of that is I recommend 911 calls. Maybe not as important now since nobody's in their office or plants, but I've always recommended 911 calls. People don't realize that you can do that, and the police department actually will want you to do that.
How do you mean? Do you mind elaborating?
Pick up your phone like you were gonna, like somebody in your office needed help. You dial 911 and you just say, I'm doing a 911 test. What address are you seeing?
Oh, wow. I didn't know you could do that.
Now, a lot of people don't. Now, just to give you an example, it's been a couple of years, but I think I was at Silver Maples, which I had done some work for them. And so I said, hey, do you mind if I knew the receptionist, do you mind if I do a 911 test? I picked up the phone, dialed 911, did the test, and they gave me the wrong address. The address they had on file was the professional office building about a half a mile up the road.
Oh, wow.
So I got that fixed in a hurry.
Now I'm going to do that with my phone. Yeah, now I'm going to do it with everything.
Yeah, could you imagine they have an emergency or they call for an ambulance and it shows up in the wrong location?
Yeah, that's not good.
Not good. So do a 911 test.
I can't believe I didn't know that. Now I'm sitting here wondering how many other people are like, I didn't know that either. Or if they're wondering, like, how did terrorists not know that?
Well, you can do it with a lot of people have gone to cell phones. You can do it with your cell phone. You might be surprised. You might ping off the wrong tower. One thing about cell phones, you have to realize that whoever makes that call has to be able to give the address. Well, I think they fixed that. I think they now have GPS. But it's still worth doing a 911 test just to make sure they can tell where you are or if you have to know your address.
And if nothing else, at least from your office landlines and whatnot.
Oh, definitely. If you have a landline, definitely do it. Again, these new fangled phone systems, you basically can put an address in for every extension. Oh, okay. Which is good if your building's big enough. The accidents in the south side of the plant, and they send the emergency vehicle to the north side of the plant, you could kill a half an hour trying to find the right. Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. We don't have that problem at the chamber office. We're tiny, but
I don't have it in my office either, but
yeah, it's good stuff. Well, that's great. Well, is there anything else you wanted to add before we go today, Scott? Or
let's see, time savings. Oh, if you're sending out either emails, information on your website, I've learned that if you highlight it, we don't read as thoroughly as we used to. We skim. So it's always a good idea to highlight the important points.
That's a good point.
Who was it? Dr. Amen. I don't know if you're a PBS fan, but Dr. Amen does a special on PBS. He's a brain specialist. Okay. And he claims that humans have an attention span of 8 seconds, while goldfish are at 9 seconds.
Yeah, that's a hilarious concept. 8 seconds. Yeah, why not? The goldfish.
You want to get your message across, you might have to highlight it.
Yeah, and that's easy enough to do these days. There's always the highlight option. I never do that either, and now I guarantee the next time I write something, I'm going to be like, highlight this spot. So all you people that get emails from the chamber, the next time you see one and it's got highlighted lines in it, you can thank Scott for that.
Yeah, at least we'll know we will know what not to miss, right?
There you go. Exactly.
Just a shout out to all the people in Chelsea that are doing such a great job. Lene and Dick Dice, Bob Pierre, all these folks are out there really plugging the businesses and trying to keep things going.
Yep. And thanks obviously to Shasta for facilitating this for us, as always, as our sponsor for the Business Spotlight series.
Yeah, I don't think you could do it without her, could you?
No, could not do it without her. The amount of times we have little technical difficulties and I'm at a loss, and if it wasn't for her and all the other people that helped the chamber get things done, we wouldn't get anything done.
Yep. And don't forget to send me that Comcast bill when you get time. I'll check to make sure Monica fixed that error.
I will do that. I will do that. All right, Scott. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, everybody else, for being out there. We'll be back on Monday at 3 o'clock, and we'll see you guys then. Bye, Scott.
Thanks, Bye.